Are you listening to the Grasshopper Show? I'm the host, Darren Wilson. As I told you, we're going live on Instagram. We're going live on YouTube. And today, I got one of my guys, man, that I've been in the trenches with for a long time in officiating basketball.
Yes.
I got Ike Durham. And Ike Durham, welcome to the Grasshopper Show.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate it very much, man. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to talk basketball officiating, which is kind of a love of my life. I've been involved and engaged with it for over 30 years.
Okay.
And so, yeah, happy to be here.
So let's tell us, first of all, where you're from.
Well, I originate out of Southern California,
Okay.
around the Los Angeles area.
Okay.
That's where I kind of cut the rug at, got started.
Okay.
And I was very fortunate to be a part of one of the largest high school basketball associations in the country. Matter of fact, we were the third outside of New York and Chicago. And we had about 450, 500 members.
Okay.
So it was an extremely large association.
So when you say association, you're talking about the Basketball Officials Association, that's correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's California Basketball Officials Association, LA unit.
Okay.
So, it's part of the LA unit. And I was very fortunate to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it all kind of started when I used to be a player myself.
Okay.
Played in all the summer pro leagues and all of that stuff.
Okay.
And then at my local park where I used to play it all the time, the guy says, Ike, it's time for you to stop. You can't jump no more. You can't shoot anymore. So and so he says, well, look, why don't you consider being a referee?
Okay.
And so he invited me to one of the meetings there in Los Angeles, and I thought it was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I had never thought about officials other than giving them grief or whatever, but it was a great opportunity for me to start and be around some people. Actually, two of the only Black officials at that time that had the opportunity to work the NCAA finals.
Okay. Who were those two?
Booker Turner.
Yes.
Yeah, Booker Turner and Lorenzo Clark.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
And they were the only two during this period. And, their prime time was the early 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. And I think Booker did the final game, I believe, like in 1981.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, something like that. But they were very inspirational to me. Mm-hmm. And I think what really drove them because if you think about an association, you have to look at it kind of like a pyramid.
Okay.
And of course, down at the bottom level here, that's where you're going to have most of your officials. But when you can work your way from the bottom of the pyramid up into this top section up here, that says a lot that your peers really believe in you and believe you can do the job and believe you look the part, and you have to have verbal communication skills and things of that nature. And in my professional background at the time, and which I retired from, was a banker, and I was trained to be able to communicate and be able to talk to folks one-on-one. So that kind of carried over into my officiating career. Where, if coaches are getting bent out of shape for whatever reason, I could go over and hold a conversation with them,
right?
Without raising my voice and all of that. I was a very even-keeled type guy, and that kind of carried me quite a way in my career of officiating.
So we both officiated.
Yes.
We both have similar styles.
Yes.
But we work very, very well together because not every official is going to be the same type of official.
Absolutely not.
But there are officials that naturally when you get out there, we get in a groove,
Yeah.
and we're just swinging together. Even though we're rotating, we're swinging.
Yeah.
You understand me, I
Yeah.
understand you. We're gonna figure out this is the way we're gonna call the game. We're not gonna take any flack from the players, the coaches. We got to make sure everything is top notch.
Right.
So, what are some of the things that drove you to want to be one of the best officials around?
Well, it's several things. And one thing I want to back up to what you were just saying is that one of the biggest attributes is professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we didn't take any silliness from players or coaches or even fans, if you got a fan out there saying really, really bad things to you,
Mm-hmm.
you just go to the game management folks and have them to march that person out of here. But otherwise, we always had a good professional camaraderie,
Mm-hmm.
you and I, when we were on the court,
Mm-hmm.
even though we were both very strong personality-wise
Mm-hmm.
and was very solid, good officials, had a good feel for the game.
That's right.
And that's important.
Yes, it is.
But things that kind of motivated me again was that officiating and starting out officiating in Los Angeles is just a motivating factor because of the talent level
Mm-hmm.
of players there.
Right.
Most of the games when you were officiating high school games in Los Angeles, is going to be played above the rim, and so you learn quickly about the different positions and where your eyes are supposed to be looking and things of that nature, and you learn to be able to anticipate certain things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't anticipate a foul, but we do anticipate, this guy was running down through the lane and somebody jumps in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
I can already anticipate that there's going to be a wreck
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Right.
And so I position myself quickly to be able to make that call. And then that's where everything that you learned about officiating, such as the block charge, you learn how to anticipate and position yourself to see the play and make the right call.
You're listening to the Grasshopper Show. I'm the host, Darren Wilson. I got my guest, my guy, man. We go way back at Ike Durham. And we sitting up here, folks. We talking about refereeing and the passion that both of us have. And I tell you, it's just phenomenal to be able to travel across the world and do what we love to do.
Yeah.
And so you're saying you refereed in California.
Yeah.
Now
That's where I started.
That's where you started. Now you're in the state of Washington.
Yeah.
So did do high school basketball? Explain, is there a little difference between the state of California and the state of Washington, or is basketball just basketball?
Well, it is basketball, but again, you don't have here in Washington the level and the numbers of pools of good players as you would in California. Washington is kind of hit and miss. You run into some good players around Garfield, Franklin, and Rainier Beach.
Oh man, you got to have my school on there, man. You can't leave O'Day out of there, man.
O'Day.
Come on, man. You can't leave O'Day out of here, man. Come on, man. But I understand.
But you see, when you go to California, though, man, what I named off maybe 7 or 8 schools here,
right.
You're going to have 25, 30, 40 schools.
I understand.
There.
I get it.
It's packed with talent.
Right.
And so you are really challenged. When you work inner city schools in Los Angeles, you're going to be challenged pretty much every night you step onto the floor.
Okay.
And again, that has really helped me with my growth and understanding the game.
Okay, so let's talk about the levels that you've worked.
Sure.
And how you and for those folks out there that want to be basketball officials, whether you are a woman, you're a man, the avenues are still going to be the same way to go. Because if you're looking at the NBA Summer Pro League, they always bring in some women. I remember Violet Palmer was one of the first African American women.
And her was in the same association.
And I did work college basketball with Violet. So give us a little bit about what it's going to really take to be basketball. Now, we're not talking about the people that want to go out there just make money on the weekend and maybe ref a little AAU basketball, a little Parks Department basketball. We ain't talking about the folks that really, really want to get to the highest level. And that would be the NBA, have attended, and just talk a little bit about that.
Well, the best advice I could probably offer anybody in the progression of officiating is to go to camps.
Okay.
Take in a lot of clinics.
Mm-hmm.
I invested quite a bit of money to achieve what I've achieved over the years. And it's kind of a sad high-level major college officials operating out of here, and that's kind of by design, because most of the officials here don't, in my view, in my opinion,
mm-hmm.
don't take it very seriously.
Yes.
I looked at this from a long time ago from the standpoint that this is an avocation,
mm-hmm.
and I learned from my professional life as being a banker or an investment person. That you have to take, no matter what you do in life, you have to take it serious.
That's right.
Or either don't waste your time nor your money.
That's right.
Because there are a lot of people who will take your money.
That's right.
And say a couple of things to you and says, adios.
Yeah.
Right. But I took officiating extremely serious. I enjoyed it
mm-hmm.
at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing a lot of professional stuff, you named off the D League and the G League. Well, back in my day, we had the CBA,
which I worked in too.
CBA, and then of course in early 1980s, the ABA came back around,
right?
And
which we both worked in the ABA.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was really looked at closely for the NBA,
mm-hmm.
but my kids was young at the time, and a lot of the camps and clinics that they wanted,
that's right,
I really couldn't do because I had to go to work.
That's right. That's right.
And so you have to make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, though, I had a great collegiate career.
Okay.
I worked the Division I, Division II. I worked in the WAC. I worked in the league with the UNLV in it, which is
it's a Mountain West. Mountain West.
And what has happened too over the years too, a lot of these conferences have merged together
mm-hmm.
into bigger conferences, but there were a lot of small Division I conferences that I had worked in a long time ago as well. One was the America West,
mm-hmm.
which had Sacramento State in it, had Reno in it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, a lot of those conferences now have all gone by the wayside.
Right.
But no, when you have some success, and people measure success differently.
Right.
And I had a lot of good success, and that kept me motivated to keep moving
mm-hmm.
forward with
mm-hmm.
it. And so I had a lot of good opportunities for officiating growth.
Well, you listen to the Grasshopper Show. I'm the host, Darren Wilson, and again, my guest today is Ike Durham. We have officiated for a couple of decades now, and so I guess one of the questions I would like to ask you at this time is, did you have a preference on which level that you like to referee? Like some officials are great on the collegiate level,
right,
where other folks are better on the professional, the NBA, the WNBA, but not everybody has those avenues to be able to try to experience that. Did you have a preference on which one you would prefer to work?
Well, my preference was at the time, because we got to go back, like you said, we've been in this stuff for me almost 4 decades,
right?
Right. 3.5 at least,
right?
But my preference was pushed on to me because, again, I had a young family, and I had to get up and go to work every day.
Okay.
So I was looking more towards the collegiate levels,
okay,
because it offered me the flexibilities to be back home,
right,
to be able to go to work the next day. I had a professional career in the banking and the investment world. So, it was a good thing. But I also really enjoyed basketball officiating as well. So again, I did all the right things. Invested in going to camps and clinics. I got out and networked. You have to do that because people won't take a chance on you unless they know you.
Right.
And they want to know you personally. They want to know what you do in your regular life. They don't want to take a chance on somebody and giving them an opportunity to, let's say, to work in the Pac-12 or which used to be the Pac-10.
Actually, it was the Pac-8
before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see,
right.
We're dating aging ourselves.
But that's okay though, because see, folks need to know that this is some real roots. These are grassroots that we have traveled through.
That's right.
It ain't like we just woke up one day and we was just there.
No.
So again, you listen to the Grasshopper Show. We're live on YouTube. We're coming from the Federal Way Library off of 320. And a small little story here. A reason why I brought out where we're at is because Ike said, "Hey, we're going to meet at the Federal Way Library off of First Avenue South." Well, I said, okay, 320th. I just went to the one on 320th. Ike was on the one on First Avenue. I'm setting up here waiting on him. He calls me. I said, "Oh, wait a minute. I'll bring everything and take down there." He says, no, he came up here. Yeah. So again, my apologies, but we're still getting it going here. So let's say this.
Okay.
We African Americans.
Sure. All the way.
All the way.
Yeah.
Explain the challenges that we face trying to be top-notch officials.
Yeah, well, a lot of times it is political. Some of the times it's because we don't invest in ourselves. A lot of times we don't get out and network. A lot of times we don't get out and market ourselves. We rather try and take the easy route and looking for handouts or somebody to give you something. You have to earn your way.
That's correct.
You got to earn your way here. And when I moved here from California in 2004, I was, and when you're good at something too, your reputation precedes you. So I was expecting to maybe take a whole year off, but as soon as I moved up here, people knew me, and so I didn't have to go through any type of ridicule or anything. They just put me right to work because they knew of my background, they knew where I come from, and things of that nature. But now here's the problem with that is, as far as I'm concerned, is that I didn't see very many people that look like me in the rotations, and I travel. I worked in every conference here, operating here in Washington from the very first day when I moved here in July. And like I say, I didn't anticipate working because I didn't really realize that my reputation had preceded me, and so people took a chance on me, like I say, first year I was, working in pretty much every conference operating here out of Washington, Oregon, up to Alaska, Idaho, and but back to the question is that I was really surprised that there weren't very many people in the circuits or in the conferences, collegiate conferences, that looked like me. And what angered me was that there were very few people that looked like me. But then the assigners, for whatever reason, assigned me with younger guys, and basically they were using me to train them, And I really didn't like that, and it took me about a year, 2 years to realize that that's what was going on. And so then I started just asking questions about where are the brothers, where are the black guys? And then I started going to some of the high school games, and that's where I found the Jeremy Nieces, the Robert Grants, and several other guys that I know from around town that have spent considerable time in officiating, but hadn't progressed, had not progressed at all. And I thought that was, I thought, I really didn't know what to think, but I thought it was unfair that all of the brothers were stuck at the high school association. But then, and then I see these young guys, these young white guys or Caucasian guys that I was officiating with, night in and night out, and giving them, so I stopped. I stopped training and stopped because I didn't like what was going on up here, and I just really didn't think that. I thought people like the Roberts and the Jerrys and several others and together as a group, and went to the NAACP and questioned how the assignments were going on here in around the Seattle, Tacoma area. And lo and behold, within a couple of years, these guys all of a sudden now are working fairly good college schedules. And but if we didn't take a stand or say something about it, then it would be very minimal to little growth of Black officials here.
Again, you listen to the Grasshopper Show. My guest is Ike Durham. We're talking about basketball officiating, and we're talking about how he got started, how we met on the court in many, many wars. Also talked about what it is to be an African American, to try to proceed and become professionals at whatever level that you like to work at. So let's talk about what you're doing now to change or to continue the growth and the change in what you started with.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I do now is that I do have different types of training programs, but what mainly needs to be put out there is that people and prospective officials needs to understand the roadmap of how to grow and how to get started. Because what I'm finding too with a lot of officials around here is that they lose interest really quick. And we had this same issue down in Los Angeles in the 70s and in the 80s, because we looked at our numbers, our membership numbers, and we knew that, okay, let's just say we got 25 brand new officials. And then the following year, we looked at it again and we had lost 20 of them. And so we started, some of the leaders that we started talking about, well, why is it that we lose so many officials? The turnover is so high. And what we figured out was that it's all about the interest. And then when you're in a big association, the newer guys kind of get lost in the shuffle. And so what we decided to do, and this has been 20 years ago, is to try and nurture and get a hold of these guys and put some young officials around them to help them learn and motivate them and answer all their questions. Because a lot of them, they have questions, but they have nobody to go to ask. How do I make it to a college? How do I communicate with coaches? They have these questions, but nobody to answer them. And so we figured that out. And then all of a sudden our retention level went up. We were back at about 90% of everybody that came through the door that started with us came back the following year at a tune of about 90 to 95%. So we lost very few. But you have to, you really have to try and understand people and see if they have the mentality and the fortitude to be able to get out there on that floor. And deal with the top game.
I mean, because for example, to tune up our game,
right?
I used to be head of the officials for the Sonics. I did the hiring for the officials for the Sonics. We did all of the practices. I did the payroll. We got paid. But those days when we were down there, it was not easy, was it?
No. Not at all, because again, you're dealing with the top-notch players, the best there are, and women and the men.
Yeah, we did we did them both.
Yeah,
right.
and so you really, first off, it's a good opportunity just to be in the same room with the NBA or WNBA players,
Right.
much less to be out on the court officiating their games.
Right.
So it's a great opportunity, and one that I think about right now to the day, because before I moved here, I used to do the Lakers and the Clippers training camps.
Right.
And basically, when they open up training camp, for the Lakers, we went to Santa Barbara, and then for the Clippers, we were in Palm Springs.
Okay.
And usually it's for 2 weeks, 2 weeks to 12, and so you're there, a lot of times the coach will give you the rundown about, okay, well, we're going to start scrimmaging at 4 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever. Right. And it tell us, okay, that's when we want the reps. But otherwise, when you're just hanging out with these guys and staying in the same hotel with them and meeting and talking to them and finding out that they're really human beings also at the end of the day. They're just gigantic human beings that can do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
It was just a great opportunity to be able to be a part of that. And that helped me with my learning curve. It helped me with, helped me to be a professional all the time. And so those are the good things that was kind of born out of those opportunities.
And then also, I told you many times before, but I'm going to still tell you again, I appreciated you for coming and working, because when I first told you I had this, you kind of looked at me like, what? And then there were certain officials that wanted to come, but I said, my job is to hire these officials.
Yeah.
And so one of the hardest things, as as an assigner, is you can't hire everybody.
No.
And so my whole objective was I took the top officials that I felt that wanted to work in the NBA, because I had to make a decision.
Right.
Because I was working so many. I was doing the high school. I was doing both the boys and the girls. I was doing college. And I'll never forget Dana Sanders, bless her soul. But, we went to camp one year, and Violet was there. And so, how you go around the room and you introduce yourselves, you stand up and you talk to the rest of your peers. And I said, yes, even though I'm here at this college camp, my goal is to be in the NBA. And then Violet, when we got done, Violet kind of pulled me over to the side. She said, hey, look here, man. I get you. She said, but you can't tell them that.
Right.
Because they're gonna look at you a little differently.
Right.
And so then
Violet, the haters.
They got to have haters came out. So then Violet, she observed me one game and she saw me running up and down the court, and she said, "Ooh, you do have that swag to be an NBA official, because at that time Violet was doing both,
right?
And so
Violet
Violet right there, Violet Palmer, baby,
yeah.
Woo! Yeah. So I just thought that, man, it was just great to have some brothers. And my thing was I had to mix it up, but out of all of that, we went a long ways. We've done a thing. So tell us what you're doing now.
Well, right now, I just retired from 2016. I retired from the banking industry.
Okay.
After 30 years.
Okay.
And then after that, I do minimal officiating now.
Okay.
Kind of fully retired from that as well.
Okay.
And I usually will go and do a couple of adult rec league games a couple of times a week. And that's really just because I enjoy being close to the game.
Right.
And, but my body still tells me, I know how to get angles to see plays and things, but I don't get to those spots as quickly as I used to, But yeah, I I still do that, a little bit, and just to stay close to the game. But now, for me now, I don't do too much anything. I got two grandkids that I spend a lot of time with, and otherwise, I am working on our brand new association here, Northwestern States Officials Association.
Okay.
And it's a ground up or grassroots brand new association here based here in Seattle.
Okay.
But what we do primarily is that we provide officiating or officials for the state basketball tournament, which is a group of people actually who started fantasy football. Who originally started fantasy football, who then later on sold it for millions or billions. But he started this new concept, and basically it's providing middle schools between 6th and 8th grade opportunities to play in a state level tournament, such as your high school state tournaments.
Okay.
Well, now we have a middle school, and this whole concept now is in 8 different states.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in order for you and we have 2 divisions. We have what we call the feeder schools or middle schools. And then we have an AAU division.
So what 8 states are you in?
We are in Illinois,
Okay.
Pennsylvania, Washington, Oregon. Where else? There's a couple more. We're in. We will be in California here in the next 2 years.
Okay.
But Nevada.
Okay.
And there's one more. Pennsylvania, Chicago. Illinois. So we are in. I can't think of the 8th one right now.
Okay.
We are in 8 states. You can go to the website. We're at statebasketballchampionships.com.
Okay.
And you can get all the information right there. And so what this new association that I'm putting together, or that have put together, we're almost there in the sense that we're going to be able to certify officials. I've been educating officials for years, and so this association is going to provide a platform for me really to find officials who was like me in the beginning, that was very interested in growing and understanding and learning about officiating, so that when you do get on the court, you will know what you're doing out there coming through our association. So again, it's Northwestern States Officials Association. And right now we've got about 130 members right now. And most of these guys are with other local association, but they still subscribe to us on a not on a part-time basis, but you can be in as many associations as you want.
Yes, you can.
So, but a lot of these guys that works for me now are in different high school association and working pretty good high school schedules. And so I provide them with opportunities to work in these state tournaments. And I send officials across the country in all of these different 8 states.
Okay.
I have a group of about 25 officials that we call our traveling officials.
Okay.
And so when Bill calls and say, hey, look, I need 15 officials to go to Pennsylvania for whatever reason, then we put them on the plane and get them a hotel and a rental car, a minivan or something. And they're there for the weekend, Friday through Sunday. Okay. And so, and that provides a lot of officials a great experience. And you would have to definitely be like one of my top-notch officials, somebody who's professional, who looks the part, who can run, and who can communicate with your signals as well as verbally.
Okay, so let's talk about looking the part. Because we know that when we go to any official camps, the time that you are on display
Mm-hmm.
is when you're reporting your fouls.
That's right.
So
Very critical.
Very critical of how you stand, how strong you look, how
Mm-hmm.
strong your whistle is,
Mm-hmm.
how you report it, boom, what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and all of that. So that is a great emphasis.
Yes.
And I think that what I've seen is that the officials really, when you talk about being professional, when you talk about being a par,
Mm-hmm.
how they look, how their uniforms look, how the shoes look, how they're groomed.
That's right.
All that's extremely important.
It is very critical because you know, when you're in a big basketball game, you got a house full of people, and you blow your whistle. Guess what? Everybody's eyes is on you.
That's right.
The eyes is on you. So, and this is another reason why a lot of officials don't grow is because, you know, they don't practice what they do. They don't practice the signals or, like you said, the mechanics. You know, getting your hand up straight, making sure your shoes are shined, making sure your uniform is kind of fitting you properly, tapered up, you know, around you. And so a lot of guys don't want to put all that little extra effort in there. And this is why that they probably won't go any farther than, you know, maybe a high school level because they don't invest the time and money and interest in trying to better themselves in order to move forward.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yeah, signals are very important, and especially on the spot. And then your presentation to the table is just very critical because if you don't report things properly, guess what's going to happen?
Oh, yeah.
Who was that foul on?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened?
Right,
blah,
right,
blah.
Right.
And that's kind of that's a bad thing. We as officials don't want to be called back to the table after I just left. So it's critical that your presentation is nice, clean, and crisp. You know, what happened, telling the story about what happened out on the floor.
That's right.
There. So that's very important.
So, and also it's also important to be able to be in the rule book.
Oh, absolutely.
Be able to pass the written test that you have to do every year.
Yep.
And some of the transitions that you have is that you might be able to get those officials that might be intellectual, that might be able to read and take a test.
Yeah.
But then once the game takes off, then there's a little disconnect in between the rule book and now that I'm actually out live and I'm in the battlefield.
Yeah, there's a lot of officials like that that'll pick up a book and then go and pass the examination, but they're totally clueless about being a part of a basketball game. And because if they've never played the game, and there are a lot of officials that have never played the game, but saw an interest in trying to be a referee, and they pick up the book, 95, 100% on there. But one of the things that, and it will show up right away, I can spot them a mile away, is that you can teach people the signals and where to stand and get your hand up and all of this. But one thing we cannot teach is judgment.
That's right.
You got to have good judgment and a feel for the game, because if you start interjecting things that don't belong in this game, you're going to have a riot in there.
Yes,
real quick.
So what do you do, or how do you train and get those officials up to speed that when you look at this particular person, they might be able to meet quite a few of the criteria that we're looking for? So how do you take those officials to get them from here to there?
Yeah. Well, first off, I would, and what I'm going to do is that we're going to do many small breakout settings where, we're up close and personal, and, and I can talk about my experiences and help better them. But again, judgment, I can't teach. Again, I can teach you how to get in position and to anticipate this wreck that you see guys dribbling down into the paint for a layup, and there's some defenders in there. Well, right away it pops in my mind that it's probably something's going to happen. And so I really try and focus on that little bit of area. But as far as, newer officials, again, I think it's so critical that you read the case books, you read the rule books. You got to know the rules, because you can't be in this game not knowing the rules.
That's correct.
And you just can't go out there just calling 3 seconds and all of this stuff. You're trying to do something to hide your improprieties,
Right.
that you're not really that good,
Right.
know. And so, but no, it's all really about somebody taking a interest in you and then sharing some of my or somebody else's your previous experiences with that person to try and help that person move forward.
Okay.
You got to have somebody to
All
get
right.
in there with.
You listen to the Grasshopper Show. I'm the host, Darren Wilson, and I've got my guest tonight, Ike Durham. We're in the Federal Way Library in a nice, how you like the little conference room here? It's pretty cool.
I like it a lot. And they have the same ones over at the other library too, right around the corner.
Okay.
But no, Tamika Stewart, who is a administrator for me with the state tournament, she and I use the study room all the time to manage assignment of officials, administrative staff, and payroll, and all of that kind of stuff like that. I have a budget of almost $100,000.
Oh wow!
For officials.
Oh, wow.
We had 426 teams in Spokane last spring.
Oh wow!
And I had 130 officials from all over the country, from Nevada, California, Oregon, Idaho, of course, Washington. And it's a great program, and anybody out there that's interested in becoming an official or learning about officiating and would like to show interest in officiating in our state tournaments across the country is to go to statebasketball.com, and you can find out information there about officiating it.
There you go, folks. I tell you, on the officials, man, I tell you, man, I'd love to die blowing my whistle, run up and down that court. So let's talk about some of the wars you've been in. What are some of the memorable moments of some of the games you've done? And it don't even matter what level, but let's just talk about it. I mean, I can talk about mine, and you can talk about yours, but what's Ike's things that always kept Ike that drive that want to just get out there and
I think it's just like building a building. It's the foundation, and one of my most notable, actually, my last high school state championship in California, and I'm really going to age myself now. Jason Kidd was playing in the game. Jason Kidd. All right.
That was a long time ago, boy.
So that's been a minute, and he was a grown man playing in a boys' game. But I've got so many notable wars that I could talk about from Los Angeles. And when you do inner city ball in Los Angeles, it's like you have to be careful how you come in, because if you come in there with red on, you got the Crips over here, and you got the Brims over here, and so going to some of those inner city schools, and you see the gang influences there, but then just below them, all the kids and the families, and then everybody really are enjoying themselves. But those are the kinds of things that on a night-to-night basis in Los Angeles that I was aware of. But it didn't sway me one bit, because when I step out on the floor, I am a neutral party, and I've learned to be this way. I don't care if we got 5-year-olds out there playing. I'm going to do my best job to adjudicate the game as best as possible and as evenly as possible. And so, if I find a block down here, I'm going to find a block down there. I'm going to try and stay light calls as much as possible, unless somebody just clubs somebody, then forces me to do something different. But no, I've been really blessed. Like I say, I think I had 2 big school state championships, and then one like AA or something like that in California. And then And then, of course, the summer pro leagues, where you got all the NBA guys in there playing, it's just that all of a sudden now your game has got to be turned up another 35 to 40%, because, these guys are running, man, and you will show up like a sore thumb if you're not keeping up with the pace.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you down here on this end of the floor and they all down there, somebody going to call you out real quick.
Real quick, buddy. Real quick. Real quick.
So,
Okay. Well, you listen to the Grasshopper Show, and my guest today has been Ike Durham, and we've been talking about officiating, talking about his association that he's developed within 8 states so far in the United States. And Ike, man, I just want to just let you know if there's anything I can help you do to continue the growth, continue the passion that we have. And finding the right officials, because
anybody who really has a true interest, and again, I got so many connections. Again, Violet Palmer and we were just together earlier this summer at a banquet down in California, and and she tells me the same thing. Just send people to that camp over there in Spokane that she runs, and she's always looking. I mean, she's got like 8 conferences.
I know.
Major conferences across the country.
Yes.
And so she's always looking for officials, and she's looking for minority officials or officials of color. But you have to put some time in before you go over there.
That's right.
And go in front of her, because you're only going to get 1 or 2 of these opportunities.
And you're only going to get about 2-3 minutes, because that's all it takes is 2-3 minutes, folks, to realize if you can either officiate this game or not. And it don't matter what level.
That's right.
But just 2 to 3 minutes. I'm just going to let you people know that, because that was one of the things that the late Daryl Garrison was a mentor of mine. And thanks to Coach Carl for connecting us way back then with the connection with the Sonics. And then all of the NBA players like GP really helped me out officiating and things of that nature. Ray Allen, I'm trying to deal with those hothead guys that they had on their team. But it goes a long ways. But we're going to go back to Violet Palmer, because Violet Palmer, it was the first African-American woman to work in the NBA, and she worked a long time.
She did.
And now she's doing collegiate basketball, but she's also looking for African American men and women. And also your association is looking for African American men and women as well.
Right.
And that's it.
We're not going to count anybody out. I'm open for anybody who really have a serious interest, because I do have a lot of connections to move you forward. But you're going to have to come and be patient with yourself and follow the steps that I put in front of you. And I can help people move forward. And so I'm always available. And if you want to come over and join our group, you're more than happy. And again, or if you want to be an associate member, where let's say the Tacoma Association is your primary association, you can be an associate member over here with us, and you can get the additional and extra training and knowledge to be able to move forward in this industry.
Okay. Well, again, you listen to the Grasshopper Show. I'm the host, Darren Wilson, and my guest today has been Ike Durham. And we're going to close it out that way, folks. And, showing he's one of his rings here. When you get my age, you got to look at this. Oh, yeah. He's got the referees. Let's see here. It is a CBO.
So you're really good when your peers, 300 or 400 people, said, we need to give him that, because he changed our whole platform around in Los Angeles. And I was the president of the Los Angeles Association.
Yes.
And again, this is where Violet and myself Derek Richardson, Rodney Mott.
Mm-hmm.
All
we got about 10 Leon Woods. Yeah.
We all come out of that same association.
Okay.
And then we had a bunch of them that worked major colleges,
Okay.
myself as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was a good period of time.
Okay.
When I was there,
Okay.
in the early 80s.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming out. This is Grasshopper Show. Thank you for tuning in. We're on YouTube Live, and I'm going to have my next cricket show coming up probably in the next couple of weeks. I did the cricket match 3 weeks ago in Kirkland, or actually Bellevue. We're going to go back out, and actually we'll have a live commentator speaking about the cricket match, explaining it a little bit better, commentating the game as we do interviews like we did last time. But special thanks for Ike Durham for coming on out.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
I'm enjoying it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. And, if you want to come back on, if you need something that you need to help promote, whatever, we can put it on. You can email it to me. We can put it up on our website. Okay. So, again, we're at The Grasshopper Show. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Podbean, which is thegrasshoppershow.com. And there we have it. So I want to thank you, and we'll get this edited and re-download everything. Thank you, my brother.
All right.
Have a good day. Thank you. All right, folks. There you go. Let's go. That's how we do it.
Peace out.
Yeah.
That was fun.